We just have to do this. We have to do it or we're going to lose them.
The urgent measures one family is taking in order to improve the life of their loved one who has been in a nursing home throughout the pandemic.
That's job creation, equipment, and our ability to growth would really be impacted by that additional taxation.
Small businesses are worried about their future as 2021 could bring a significant tax increase for them amid the pandemic. The action business owners want you to take.
Well, it's incredibly important work to help restore some local control over the 5G rollout, because when it comes to this 5G rollout, nobody's happy.
5G cell phone towers popping up unexpectedly near people's yards. Some are worried about their property values, others worried about potential health concerns. The steps one lawmaker is taking in an effort to give homeowners more control. The news at 6 starts right now. Welcome and good Thursday evening to you. I'm Mark Mullins. Amanda Starantino has the evening off. And first at 6 o'clock tonight, a family taking drastic steps to make sure their loved one is living a life worth living during the pandemic, removing him from assisted living and moving him to a home all his own so that he can spend time with the ones he loves. Our Alyssa Donovan has the story tonight.
This is the first time Tim Hession was able to hug his daughter or anyone in 8 months. Several years ago, the 61-year-old suffered a severe stroke, leaving him disabled and in need of round-the-clock care at an assisted living facility.
It's severely affected his speech. He's wheelchair bound. His eating.
Because of COVID-19 precautions, Sarah Gardner and her family haven't been able to spend much time with her dad, stopping by Brook Knoll Rehabilitation Center in Avon to wave through a window or coming in for a socially distant visit every few weeks.
6 feet apart for 30 minutes, 4 people at a time, no kids allowed. So he wasn't being able to see his grandkids.
Now he's getting to see them and hug them several times a week. Gardner and her siblings saw the toll seclusion, sitting alone in a room for weeks on end, was taking on their dad. Progress made in speech therapy had disappeared, his strength and mental health diminishing, depression taking over, and his appetite non-existent.
Come to find out, he lost 35 pounds while he was sitting in quarantine.
Now he's getting back to himself. The family moving him into a 2-bedroom apartment in a 55 and older community. Medicaid is covering the cost of a caregiver during the day, and Gardner and other family members are rotating, staying overnight to be with him.
He's already progressing, even just physically. I can tell when I transfer him and do things, he's doing more, I'm doing way less, and it's only been 3 weeks.
The family knows the situation is risky, with multiple people coming and going from his home every day. And COVID-19 still a concern, but the alternative?
He's going to give up the will to live, because why would you want to do that another day?
So they decided that right now, this was the best thing for their dad, to give him joy, family time, and bring back hope that had been lost.
It's hope. If you don't have hope and purpose, there's no reason to keep going.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
The Indiana Department of Health reports more than 8,000 additional COVID-19 cases. 8,527 more Hoosiers have tested positive for coronavirus. That means a total of 359,430 people in Indiana have been diagnosed with COVID since March. The state also confirmed 60 new COVID-related deaths. 5,748 Hoosiers have now died with the coronavirus since the start of the pandemic. The Marion County Coroner's Office is stretched thin this year, along with people dying from COVID and a record number of homicides. Officials say other natural deaths are also increasing. Deputy Coroner Afarina McGinty says death investigators have been conducting twice the number of investigations this year compared to a typical year.
We need to be able to have the staff so that we can adequately conduct death investigations without error. A lot of our investigators have conducted well over 300 investigations just from January to now. They should only be conducting about 150.
Coroner's office staff are also frequently going into homes where they might be exposed to COVID. The City County Council will vote on Monday whether to approve additional funding for their coroner's office for the rest of the year, including more money for PPE. Some distilleries say they are at risk of shutting down if Congress does not extend existing tax breaks. WRTV's Stephanie Wade talks with a local craft distillery that explains why this significant tax increase could make 2021 very difficult for small businesses.
Businesses like bars and local distilleries have been hit hard by the pandemic with the added safety restrictions. Now, if this federal excise tax doesn't get extended, some say it could close their business for good.
It's a major difference in how we can budget for future growth into 2021 and beyond.
Travis Barnes says they've had to get innovative at Hotel Tango Distillery in Fountain Square to keep their doors open and continue serving craft cocktails.
We've had to reorganize our seating. We've had to add seating outside. We've came up with new cocktails, new canned cocktails for folks, carry-out options. So, yeah, just really trying to shift and pivot with all of the new and updated regulations.
On top of this is the fear of a 400% tax increase next year if Congress doesn't extend the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act by December 31st.
So it would jump from around $250 up to $13.50 overnight.
Last year, they passed a one-year extension of the federal excise tax to allow businesses to expand.
That would be hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional taxes that we would pay over the next year and years. So that's job creation, equipment, and our ability to growth would really be impacted by that additional taxation.
Barnes says this disproportionately impacts craft distilling because of the threshold of taxation.
At 100,000 gallons is really where the first break would occur. So Jim Beam and Jack Daniels make that in the first 2 days of the year, where us, we would not even come close to that for next year. So that's the big difference on who it really impacts. It's the small guys, not the big guys.
Thanking the community who supported them already and urging people to contact our Indiana senators to extend the excise tax.
If it keeps the taxes low, you will see more craft spirits growing in Indiana.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And we will attach a link at the bottom of this story online at WRTV.com to contact your senator directly. As kids continue e-learning from home, several organizations are stepping up to make sure those students have access to all of the same supplies they would in a classroom. And the organizations are creating kits with everything students might need. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum explains why this could be crucial to student success and how you can get involved and help.
The goal is to create more than 15,000 homework kits for students in need. Pencils, crayons, folders, and all the basic school supplies you'd normally find in a classroom. That's what's going into these homework kits being created by Teach Indy, Teachers Treasures, the Mind Trust, and the 2022 College Football Playoffs Host Committee. They're supplies not all students have access to while at home, doing e-learning or at community learning sites.
It really is important to be able to stay focused on the teacher and in the learning. So if the teacher is teaching, you're able to find that pencil real quick and get started on whatever the assignment is. And so I think, to me, it's like not doing a ton to go above and beyond, but just making sure that we have the basic needs met.
The kits will be distributed at several locations across the city and at certain food distribution sites. They will also be available at the Mind Trust Community Learning Centers.
In addition to all the other things that we're worried about as parents, not having to worry about school supplies or not having to try to fit that in the budget when we're now paying for things like increased utilities and, all the other stuff we've got going on, just to know that somebody thought enough of parents and teachers and students to do something like this, I think it's amazing.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
Well, organizers are still looking for volunteers to help assemble those kits. We have much more information about how you can sign up to volunteer and where you can eventually pick up a kit on our website at WRTV.com. It is in the 40s around central Indiana as the dark creeps in on this Thursday night. Feels pretty cool, but hey, it is December. We were bound to cool down at some point. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory looking ahead to the rest of your evening and to your Friday.
Can't keep us down forever, Mark. Temperatures bounce back tomorrow, the warmest day at least over the next several. Let's talk about these temperatures. Fairly uniform because you notice the cloud cover that we had through the day, especially in the afternoon settling in. That'll keep temperatures from changing a whole lot. That's the metro area. There's the state of Indiana. Taking a look at all 92 counties. Coolest right now, 33 in Peru. Still in the mid-30s in Fort Wayne. Temperature ranges into the low 40s down along the Ohio River, where they actually have a few sprinkles or light showers, as you can see. That is not expected to reach central Indiana. I just want to play this out for you to show you that the system should stay south of Indiana, with the exception of some clouds drifting north through tomorrow and the weekend. What happens over the weekend, the wind direction changes. When we exchange a southwest wind for a north wind, it will have a temperature impact. We'll get into that when I come back in just a bit.
A state senator is drafting legislation aimed at giving homeowners more power when it comes to 5G towers in their neighborhood. Senator J.D. Ford is making this push following several stories from WRTV Investigates. Our Kara Kenny found out what his bill would do and how it could impact you as a homeowner.
North Willow Farms on the north side of Indianapolis is just one of many central Indiana neighborhoods that's seen 5G in a big way.
We've got 6 towers that have been placed in North Willow. Verizon had requested a variance from the city to place 4 more, and the city denied that variance request. So at this point, we're in a little bit of a stalemate.
Homeowners associations, and even cities are very limited in what they can do when it comes to where 5G towers are placed.
The 6 towers that went in were very frustrating because we didn't have any opportunity to play a role in the decision about that. So our voice was not heard at all in those.
This is happening in part because Senate Bill 213 passed the state legislature in 2017 and authorized a massive rollout of small cell wireless structures all over the state. Senator J.D. Ford says the legislature needs to re-examine that legislation.
Give some power back to the residents. They feel really kind of helpless at this point. And so, my bill that I'll be filing in January will allow neighborhood associations, homeowner associations, or even just a resident the ability to have more notification, to have more say.
Ford's legislation would also improve the notification process. Ford also wants to add more markings to the structures themselves so people know they're for 5G technology. Many of them have stickers, but they're often high up.
You can't even see that.
People are concerned about the aesthetics of the towers as well as the potential health impacts. Ford says it's one of the top concerns among his constituents.
I think I, like the rest of customers, like the fact that I can pull out my phone and have fast speeds. I think all we're asking for is for a little bit more say in this process. And I think, that is easily can be achieved.
Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Well, the bill will likely be assigned to the Utilities Committee chaired by Senator Eric Cook. WRTV reached out to CTIA, which represents the wireless industry, and we are still waiting on a response. The CTIA's Wireless Health Facts website says typical exposure to 5G is comparable to Bluetooth devices and baby monitors. A man is now charged with the murder of former IU football player and businessman Chris Beatty. Today, the Marion County Prosecutor's Office announced that Marcus Anderson faces numerous charges for the May 30th shooting death of Beatty. Beatty was shot while walking through the alley next to his apartment building near Talbot and Vermont Streets. It happened during the unrest that had followed earlier protests in downtown Indianapolis over the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Beatty was well known throughout the city. He played on 3 state championship teams at Cathedral High School before playing for the Hoosiers. He later was involved in several businesses, including one shortly before his death that sold masks to protect people during the pandemic. We have much more on this story at our website at WRTV.com. The pandemic continues to hit the job market hard. There is an uptick in the number of Hoosiers filing first-time unemployment benefits. During the week ending November 28th, the Department of Labor says just more than 23,000 people in Indiana filed first-time unemployment claims. The week before that, 18,829 Hoosiers filed for unemployment for the first time. Of course, these numbers have been extremely high ever since the pandemic began in March. And while thousands of Hoosiers are looking for employment, we're bringing you available opportunities in the Hiring Hoosiers job feed. Indiana State Police are looking for recruits for the 81st Recruit Academy. People who are interested in becoming a trooper are encouraged to check out what a career with the state police has to offer. We do have a link to that information in this story on hiringhoosiers.com. You must submit your application to be an Indiana State Police recruit by January 24th. Aerotech needs a rubber manufacturer as soon as possible. Pay is $16.88 an hour. You can find this post on the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. D.S. Smith in Lebanon is hiring third shift machine operators. Pay is between $17 and $24 an hour based on your experience. You are eligible for medical, dental, and vision benefits, and a 401k is also available. Find even more employment opportunities on the job board at hiringhoosiers.com and on the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. IndyCar and IMS with a major announcement that could help create more diversity in open wheel racing, the new team and their big aspirations.
And we've got the green light for a dry day tomorrow. Temperature after starting just below freezing hits 46. How that changes over the weekend. I guess the big announcement I would have is really no announcement. We do not have any big storm systems, a big blast of cold air headed our way. We're kind of on December cruise control for a little bit. Temperatures in the low 40s across most of central Indiana now. The cloud cover tonight will keep temperatures from falling off as much as they have the last couple of nights. We'll still drop to around 30 by morning. The wind is out of the southwest. That will strengthen a bit, especially through the first half of tomorrow. That draws in warmer temperatures just for Friday. Then we'll change the wind direction and bring some colder air in for the weekend. Clouds are in place. Temperatures still hovering above the freezing mark at 11 o'clock tonight. There's our morning low, how we'll start our Friday. Friday temperatures jump about 15, 16 degrees to afternoon highs in the mid-40s. As you look at the weekend, noticeably cooler Saturday and Sunday. You add in a north wind Saturday and I think a decent amount of cloud cover, and that may be the colder of the 2 days, at least the way it feels. Friday temperature by noon with some sunshine at 44. Afternoon high temperature right at 46 degrees, just a couple degrees above average. The wind will be stronger in the morning tomorrow. We could have some gusts to around 20 miles per hour through early afternoon. Then you see the arrows start coming out of the west and eventually northwest and then north over the weekend. As we go from north to south, temperature, Logansport up in Cass County at 45 for a high tomorrow, 47 in Veedersburg. From west to east, anywhere along Interstate 70, not much of a temperature difference. Rockville 47, Richmond at 45. Temperatures in the southern portion of the state push the upper 40s. Just want to show you the flow. Go with the flow. It's a northerly flow, bringing colder air from the Great Lakes down into central Indiana over the weekend. As we mentioned, our temperatures will stay in the upper 30s. That's the first half of the weekend and not much different on Sunday. Looking for a warm-up, you'll find it. We begin the trend early next week. Tuesday at 42, warming to 46 Wednesday, pushing the upper 40s to almost 50 degrees as we get to next Thursday. And these overnight lows will be back into the lower 30s as well. Since we're climbing there, I just want to point out the December outlook does call for above average temperatures. That's the monthly outlook. Mark?
Kevin, thank you. IndyCar is taking a step in an effort to diversify open-wheel racing and create more opportunities for minorities. Today, African-American business leader and former team manager Rod Reed announced the formation of Force Indy. That's a race team set to compete in the 2021 USF 2000 Championship. USF 2000 serves as a pipeline for future stars of open-wheel racing, some of whom reach the IndyCar Series. Reed brings an expanded relationship with NXG Youth Motorsports, which has introduced more than 2,300 students from underrepresented communities to open-wheel racing. Team Penske will mentor the new Force Indy team.
We always dreamed of having a black enterprise that would be oriented towards people of color. And, you know, I want to be clear, this is not the first time that we've had black ownership in cars or teams. But I think this is one of the first times that we will be able to do something that's sustainable.
The team is planning to make its debut in the USF 2000 Series next March in St. Petersburg, Florida. IndyCar and Indianapolis Motor Speedway say this is part of their Race for Equity and Change initiative, where they have the goal of recruiting and developing a more diverse workforce throughout IndyCar and IMS. The Purdue Boilermakers men's basketball team is in action tomorrow against an in-state foe, It's too early for the Boilers to be playing IU, but Purdue is taking on Valparaiso Crusaders at Mackey Arena in West Lafayette. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The Boilermakers are coming off a 43-point win against Oakland on Tuesday night. Purdue is 2-1 on the season, their loss coming against the Clemson Tigers. The IU football team has been having an historic season, sitting at 5-1 with wins over Penn State, Rutgers, Michigan, Michigan State, and Maryland. The Hoosiers' lone defeat was a 7-point loss to Ohio State. IU is hoping for another signature win on Saturday when the team takes on the Wisconsin Badgers in Madison. It's a game you'll only see on WRTV. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. We'll be right back after this. If you are looking to get yourself and your little one into the holiday spirit, you may want to head to the Indiana State Museum tomorrow morning for Magical Mornings. From 9 to 10 a.m., you can experience Celebration Crossing at Magical Mornings. You can visit with Santa, have story time with North Pole elves, and explore Santa's front yard and reindeer barn. Also take a ride on the Santa Claus Express train. This is a special early opening event for the youngsters. Again, it goes from 9 to 10 a.m. Celebration Crossing is included in the normal price of admission at the State Museum. If you can't make it tomorrow, you can go to this event December 11th, December 18th, and January 1st. The 20th annual WRTV Toy Drive is underway right now. On Saturday, we will be outside 4 local Simon malls to collect your toys. Come see us at the Fashion Mall, Castleton Square, Hamilton Town Center, and Greenwood Park Mall. We're also accepting toys at local U-Store locations. For all the information, you just need to go to WRTV.com/Toy Drive. Exciting stuff.
And as always, thank you for the contributions over the last 20 years. Can you believe that? Temperatures tomorrow morning, right around 30 degrees, so it is a little bit of a warmer start. Temperature by noon at 44, that afternoon high at 47. That's the warmest we'll see, at least through the weekend. That's all for the news at 6 o'clock. Mark and I will see you back at 7 tonight. World News is next.